Democratic reform in Britain. Unlike some of its neighbors in Europe, Britain generally achieved change through reform rather than revolution. Still, it was far from democratic. Although members of the House of Commons were elected, less than 5% of the people had the right to vote. Wealthy nobles dominated politics and heavily influenced voters. In addition, the House of Lords, made up of nobles and clergy, could veto any bill passed by the House of Commons. Long-standing laws kept many people from voting. Catholics and non-Anglican Protestants, for example, could not vote or serve in Parliament. An even greater battle soon erupted over making Parliament more representative. During the Industrial Revolution, centers of population shifted. Some rural towns lost so many people that they had few or no voters. Yet, local landowners in these rotten boroughs still sent members to Parliament. At the same time, populous new industrial cities like Manchester and Birmingham had no seats allocated in Parliament because they had not existed as population centers in earlier times. By 1830, Whigs and Tories were battling over a bill to reform Parliament. Parliament finally passed the Great Reform Act in 1832. It redistributed seats in the House of Commons, giving representation to large towns and cities and eliminating rotten boroughs. It also enlarged the electorate, the body of people allowed to vote by granting suffrage to more men. The act, however, did keep a property requirement for voting. From 1837 to 1901, the great symbol in British life was Queen Victoria. Her reign was the longest in British history. As Queen, Victoria came to embody the values of her age. These Victorian ideals included duty, thrift, honesty, hard work, and above all, respectability. Under Victoria, the British middle class and growing numbers of the working class felt great confidence in the future. During this time period, there were two main political parties in Britain. The first one was the Whigs. The Whig Party largely represented middle class and business interests. The other political party were the Tories. The Tory party spoke for nobles, landowners, and others whose interests and income were rooted in agriculture. Old political parties regrouped under new leadership. The Tories became the Conservative Party, and the Whigs became the Liberal Party. Benjamin Disraeli and the Conservative Party pushed through the Reform Bill of 1867. By giving the vote to many working-class men, the new law almost doubled the size of the electorate. In the 1880s, it was the turn of William Gladstone and the Liberal Party to extend suffrage. They did this with the Reform Act of 1884. Their reforms gave the vote to farm workers and most other men. In the early 1900s, many bills passed by the House of Commons met defeat in the House of the Lords. In 1911, a Liberal government passed measures to restrict the power of the Lords, including their power to veto tax bills. The Lords resisted. Finally, the government threatened to create enough new Lords to approve the law, and the Lords backed down.